Hello, Pisces, and welcome to your full moon in Aquarius reading. I'm going to pull a few messages and see what wants to come through for you in regards to this full moon happening on July 29th. It is happening, I don't remember what degree, it's in the early degrees, so I'm so sorry about that. Um, Yes, but this is a full moon in Aquarius, so let's take a look at what messages want to come through for the sign of Pisces. The first card that shows up is Sagittarius energy. This is a full moon in Sagittarius card. So I feel like this full moon is going to bring about some sort of a higher learning, an expansive mindset, a different belief system, seeing something differently. Communication is key. So new moon in Gemini, which is very interesting because Gemini and Sagittarius sit across from each other. And you do see the new moon and the full moon. So I do feel like, and I did feel a lot of that mind energy when I was looking at this Sagittarius energy. So it does feel like some energy that talks about balancing out, you know, I feel strongly in regards to opening, expanding the mindset, like seeing things differently, learning something new, that sort of energy. And I do feel like there's some sort of communication that's going to take place as a result of this. Maybe you could start speaking differently or communicating differently as a result of something that you've learned, a higher learning of some sort. So let's keep taking a look. First card, Sanctuary, that's popping up. So I'm going to pull these cards just as the main theme of what this energy is talking about. And then we are going to pull some clarifying cards. I feel, because I'm looking at the bottom of the deck with the compassion, and this to me is a transformation card. You could see this person, right? They got the butterfly wings coming through. um, I do feel like this is about one's higher self. This does feel to me like somebody evolving and ascending. And I do feel like this higher learning, this, whatever this is, this mindset, belief system, I feel like somebody is really tapped in recognizing, peace, what peace looks like, how peace is reciprocated in their energetic field is how I'm feeling. With this on the bottom of the deck, this compassion card, I'm feeling like somebody's going through a transformation. I'm feeling like they're shedding their old skin, kind of going through that metamorphosis, like the caterpillar to the butterfly sort of thing. I do feel like this is something that's at the end, just because I did see the butterfly wings. So I do feel like somebody's ready to take flight, right? To express this, to communicate this, to uh, just align with whatever that is for them. So let's grab some more energy. Next card that comes up is Wisdom. Yeah, I mean, these are really all lining up. You see the owl. I'm feeling with this rose as well. I kind of feel like this is a blooming period, right? Where this full moon could be where you're dropping the baggage, the burdens of that old way of being, that old way of thinking, that old belief system, and incorporating the knowledge, the wisdom, the lessons learned throughout life, and just evolving is how I'm feeling. Look, bottom of the deck is change. So I do feel like there is a new dawn, a day dawning. I'm also seeing that white owl, which is twice out here. You can look up the symbolic meaning of owls, but I do feel like somebody has gained a lot of insight, wisdom, and I feel like they're ready to display that, put that on display. I feel like they're coming through. They're ready to take flight with those butterfly wings. There could be something that's weighing them down, which I feel like this full moon is here to say, I'm releasing this now, right? I'm communicating out into the universe that that is no longer who I am, what I represent, what I believe in. I've gained a lot of wisdom, insight, knowledge, and I'm now that I know better, I'm going to do better is the energy that I'm feeling with all of this. So let's pull one more energy and we'll start clarifying. and dreams. So this is really nice. I love this, to see this. It does feel to me like there is this, like I feel final outcome of aligning with whatever that peace is, that sanctuary, whatever that feels like and looks like for you. But I do feel it's something, look, bottom of the deck, kindred spirits, really nice. And there's that butterfly again right at the top. So I do feel like this is somebody's ascension. Like this full moon in Aquarius is going to be where, like I said, I feel like they're releasing, surrendering, letting go of that old, outdated, whatever it is, way of being, way of communicating, belief system, whatever this is. It just feels like a big maturity to me with this cycle, with that full moon cleansing, clearing, and purging away that old, outdated way of being or thinking or believing, that sort of energy. Let's take a peek at what cards want to clarify this sanctuary. Let's see what messages want to come through to clarify the sanctuary for the sign of Pisces. Pisces. Now, if you're a Pisces rising, this would be in your 12th house. So that would absolutely be speaking of, no, this wouldn't be your 12th house. This would be your second house. So that would be in regards to money you earn from the job that you work, or some sort of resources, finances, something like that. Let's see. Let's take a look. I'm not really feeling money associated with this, although I do recognize that as being the house where this, no, I was right the first time. It's the 12th house. Aquarius, so this is reading is for the sign of Pisces, and Aquarius is your 12th house, which talks about completions of cycles, hidden enemies being exposed, endings of, like endings of some sort that is taking place. So in Aquarius, this can be where information comes through, like facts or information or some sort of communication, which really shifts the trajectory. It really exposes something that I feel someone wasn't aware of. I don't know why I was like confused like that for a second with the 12th and the second house. Um, but I do feel like somehow this affects your second house. I don't know why. Let's keep going. So sanctuary, let's see what we got here. What clarify sanctuary? Wow. Look, I knew I felt that energy and I couldn't understand why, but now Five of Earth. Five of Earth is like a lock, and Earth is about things in the physical realm. I do feel like, Pisces, you could be connected, attached. For some Pisces watching this, you could be the culprit, right? Who um, functions in lower vibrational energy. So either you're connected to someone who definitely, I don't feel, brings like the best out in a person, or you're an energy of being that kind of energy that doesn't bring out the best in a situation. Five of Earth talks about a lack in something in the physical, and it's clarifying the sanctuary card. So I do feel there is something going on in this environment or this situation, whoever this is resonating with, where you're finding there's a lack. It can be a lack in um, vibrational frequency. It can be something that you're connected to that brings a lack in your financial situation. It can be that connection that brings a lack in peace of mind and stability, that sort of thing. Three of water at the bottom of the deck. And in this deck specifically, I always feel like there is a whirlwind of like emotional turbulence surrounding a situation. So again, take what resonates, release what doesn't. Let's see. Let's grab one more energy. Wow, Queen of Fire. Ooh, I feel whoever I'm talking to, and I've seen this through from the very beginning, where somebody's going through a transformation. When we talk about the Queen of Fire energy, I'm not talking about an individual or a person. I'm talking about the energy of a Queen of Fire. This is someone behind the scenes who is taking action. I feel in regards to the direction they're going to take, or is required for them to align with this sanctuary energy. Yes, absolutely. Ace of Earth on the bottom of the deck. So that is about a new beginning. I feel like somebody's going through a transformation. Behind the scenes, they're doing the shadow work. They're doing some sort of work which allows them to have this fresh start, this new break, this getting out of a lack of some sort. I kind of feel like it's a lack in as far as their peace and serenity and security, that sort of energy goes. I also feel with this full moon being in the Aquarius, and that being your 12th house, if you are a Pisces rising, you'll have to look at your chart and see. But that you, like, someone could feel like they're surrounded by a bunch of vultures or hidden enemies or frenemies or something like that. And I feel like they're recognizing and seeing, kind of like connecting the dots sort of energy about where, what they're searching for, right? What they're wanting, this sanctuary, this peace, that sort of energy. Is not in alignment because of energies that they're connected to that is keeping them in this lack of some sort. Wow, look, this is to clarify the wisdom. Tower. Whew, okay. Tower with the Five of Water. Fives talk about change. Five talk about change. It talks about challenges that need to be overcome in order to bring forth change. And I feel like they're looking to bring forth a positive change, right? A change of peace, of sanity, of security, of stability, of something like that. And I feel like the wisdom, the knowledge, the insight that they now have, that they're in tune and aligned with, they're seeing that. I do feel like it's going to be a tower moment. This is no surprise. We did see that new moon in Gemini over here. Uranus, which is the planet that would bring that radical change, which is this tower, is in the sign of Gemini. So I feel like whoever's transformation this is, the conversations, the communications, what you bring forth through this process, it does create and bring forth a tower. Because I feel like somebody is done being in this five, lack of financial security and stability, lack of something stable in the physical realm, lack of emotional fulfillment. This is like, it could even be somebody who's been in a really sad, solemn sort of energy for a long time, and they're liberating themselves from that. They're freeing themselves from that, recognizing that a cycle has to end in order to do that. And I do feel like it's going to bring forth a tower. Something is going to crumble as a result of it. For the person I'm talking to who's in a higher vibration going through this transformation, you are crumbling that old, outdated way of thinking, believing, belief systems, of feeling like you're always got to be struggling or always got to be facing some sort of challenge. I feel there's a recognition of knowing that is not the truth, right? There's a higher learning. You're seeing something differently. Look at the bigger picture. You're recognizing, like I said, I feel like connecting the dots on what, when your life is at its best, what are you surrounded with? And when it starts crumbling or tumbling or going through a lot of challenging, what are you surrounded with? And I feel like it's connecting the dots and putting the pieces together and using that wisdom, knowledge, and insight to act accordingly, make choices and decisions accordingly. Let's see what the next energy is. Let's see what the next message is, wants to come up to clarify this wisdom in this tower. And that is the Two of Air. This is someone being at a crossroads right now. They're at a crossroads, about making a choice or a decision. We get the Two of Water at the bottom of the deck. I feel like air talks about the mind, the thoughts, the ideas, the information, right? This being at this crossroads, I feel like somebody recognizes something, they're at a crossroads knowing they have to make a choice or a decision in order to bring that ebb and flow, that smooth, you know, balance or that balance into their life. This is water, that is air. So again, I feel like that peace of mind, their emotional balance, stability, security within their feelings, their heart chakra, that sort of energy. Let's grab some more to clarify this dreams in order, and I feel like this is all part of the path in order to achieve and receive their dreams. You know, I did, like at the beginning when I was talking about the 12th house, which I do know, the full moon is in the Pisces 12th house, right? Pisces rising, that's your 12th house. Aquarius is. I do feel like I felt something to do with finances. Someone could really feel like they are the end all be all and totally, I feel, dependent on when it comes to someone else's, you know, thing on the physical realm, like their financial stability or something like that. I kind of feel part of, like, I feel this is an illusion. I do feel like it's an illusion. I feel like somebody may take more accountability than they necessarily have to, and I kind of feel I just get the energy with that frenemy or that whatever energy, that enemy energy that I'm feeling. Like it's almost like a tactic, right? To keep somebody in a lack of finances, lack of physical stability, in order to keep them off their game, in order, you know, because when you're stable and confident and secure and all of that stuff, you process better, you do things better, you make better choices and decisions. It just gives me that vibe of a frenemy that wants to keep something in lack or really chaotic in order to maintain control. I don't really like the vibe I'm feeling from it, but that is. And I feel whoever I'm talking to, you see this, you recognize this, and now you're at this crossroad of bringing forth, overcoming this challenge by bringing forth this radical change, which I do feel is going to break down that entire illusion or distorted energy. Next card that comes up is the Seven of Earth. And look, this Seven of Earth is looking right back. Seven of Earth talks about what you're investing your time, energy, and effort into, and it's clarifying this dreams card. So somebody's recognizing that they've invested, I feel, a lot of time, energy, and effort into chaotic situations, challenging situations, situations that didn't bring a lot of peace and harmony into their life, and they're looking, there it is again, for that Ace of Pentacles, that fresh start, that new beginning. When we look at the Seven of Earth and the Ace of Earth, you put these together, that's the Eight of Earth, which talks about being focused and working hard, staying eyes on the prize, like focusing on what you need to do to achieve this dream, this desire, this wish fulfillment. So let's grab one more card and then we'll bring some closing messages. Let's pull one more card of clarity for this dream. This talks about being mindful of what you're investing your time, energy, and effort into. And it's looking back. So I can see it's like, you know, I'm at a crossroad. This is an opportunity. You know, how am I going to best serve myself? You know, doing what's right for my soul, my evolution. And moving forward, and I feel like that's exactly how this is going to go down. Next card that came up, and I look too. I'm going to pop these cards out like this, okay? The Magician came up in reverse. I feel like this Magician is meant to be upright, but I'm going to leave it like this just for a second to get through these. Because I feel this manifestation, this Magician, I feel like there's a manifestation that is being, I feel, tampered with, right? Because I feel like somebody doesn't want someone to manifest their way out of this situation. They don't want them to manifest this ascension, this evolution, this, you know, peace, joy, harmony. Just feels to me like there's a miserable ass spirit around somebody who doesn't want them receiving or achieving the best that they can, because possibly more than likely it's because that person can't or won't or will never be able to. But I feel like they're trying to block somebody moving forward into bringing balance. Justice card is here. So with this card right there, I feel whoever is doing this, I'm feeling that's going to be eliminated from your path. I feel the minute you can recognize it, see it, own it, accept it, process it, the better off you're going to be, because that will allow you to liberate yourself from that, move forward, and have justice be served, King of Earth, and bring you the financial, physical stability and security that you are looking, searching, hoping, and I feel trying to manifest into your life. But I do feel like there's an intentional energy that's trying to block it, and I'm sure it's the energy that has been keeping you in lack, the one who benefits from you being very chaotic, or all over the place, or just too busy dealing with challenges and this, that, and the third thing, to be able to focus on self. I feel just so strongly somebody is just going to be, I'm letting this go, and I'm letting the house crumble. I'm letting it fall where it will, and what's meant to be is what's meant to be. Whatever that Magician in reverse is, that justice is coming for you, and the justice is coming for the person who has been, um, unfortunately, I feel delayed, slowed down, bogged down, burdened down, dealt all kinds of obstacles and challenges. Justice will be served for you, and justice, the scales will be balanced. Karma is coming, out to balance the scales, is how I'm feeling it. So let's pull some of these from the Mystical Wisdom Oracle deck. Peacock, raise your standards. Yeah, somebody was settling for something, settling for less than. That's why they were in that lack. And now they're recognizing they have free will. They're a sovereign being. They have choices that they can and will make for what there is for their greater good. And I feel like they're raising the bar. They're raising their standards on what's acceptable and what is not. Next card that comes up is gratitude. Be grateful for all that you have. And then we have the legends on the bottom. Learn from those who inspire you. And I feel like there is a lot of gratitude being expressed. I feel like for a lot of different reasons. One, for the lessons learned where that wisdom came through trial and error, that sort of thing. And for the fact that someone, I feel, did a lot of deep internal work where they recognized, their true power, who they truly are, and really tapped into their sovereignty of being a free spirit and not being bogged down by, external stuff that I feel is an illusion, like what people think and the society standards. Like, these are just things that I don't know how they come into effect, but some people go along to get along. I'm not feeling this is the energy that I'm picking up on. No, this is somebody who's saying no. This is confrontation, and this is where somebody is confronting situations that are not in alignment. They're not afraid to admit that this is not for me. They're not, while a lot of people use mental and emotional tactics in order to manipulate someone, right? In order to keep them under control or in a certain space or small or something like that. This is like somebody confronting that situation and saying, oh, hell no. I can have better than this. I want better than this. I'm interested in this internal peace. Yeah, somebody's recognizing the toxicity that's surrounding them, that's in their life. This says humanity's destructive traits, and I feel like for a long time, whoever I'm talking to, you could have been self-sabotaging by going along to get along, or being afraid to rock the boat, or being afraid to speak your truth, or stand up for yourself, or whatever it was. But I feel like that time is over. And so this full moon is going to clear out any of that residual debris that's been clinging to you, whether, holding you back or whatever this is, in order to bring forth that, open up that space to bring forth that positive change into someone's life. Let's grab one more card, and here it is. Look, find a way to abundance, and this is a card of money. Somebody's knowing. There is a knowing that someone's life has continued to go downhill. And look, Battle of the Blues. It was continuously going downhill. Like things weren't going right. It felt like the harder they tried, the worse things got, or the harder they tried, the nothing was changing, and ultimately recognizing something is not in alignment. And I feel like it's a result of some sort of manipulation, and I do feel like it's mental and emotional manipulation that was taking place in order to control the outcome of someone's direction. I feel like they've liberated themselves and broke free. They've had that aha moment. They see things differently now. They're more focused on the direction that they're going and not allowing these external things. And I feel those external things are associated with mental and emotional either illusions, confusions, distortions, manipulations, whatever it is. Like they're just shattering that. They're just dropping that like a bad habit and allowing themselves to ascend through this energy and align with that more harmonious, peaceful, loving, nurturing, growing, abundant energy moving forward. They're putting this behind them, the Battle of the Blues. They're putting that tough period cycle of life behind them and moving forward. I hope this serves you well, Pisces. I send you an abundance of love and light. Have a great day.